Hi, everyone. My name is Melanie Ely, and I am the Web Accessibility Coordinator at UNC Greensboro. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be moderating our 11 a.m. session today. It is titled Captioning in Accessible Videos. We do have a poll that's up right now. If you haven't already, please respond to let us know which caption demos you'd like to see. We've got several that are listed in the presentation today. I know we won't be able to get to all of them, so we would like to definitely show one, possibly two. So the top two we'll try to certainly get to today. So we do have just a few reminders before we get started. First, the session is being recorded, and we will be sharing this this presentation after the conference. We also have professional captioning services and ASL services during today's session. And you can access the settings and turn these features on or off in the Zoom menus. Another reminder, we certainly welcome your questions, so please use the Q&A feature to post your questions, and you will have the option to either post anonymously if you prefer, or use your name. If you do have any issues with Zoom, please let us know by emailing tap@wfu.edu. Someone is monitoring that and will certainly get back to you. And also, we will have a survey link, so just please remember to complete that survey after this session, and the link for the survey will be displayed at the end of this session. So let's get started. So I am happy to introduce our presenter. He's also my colleague here at UNCG. His name is Nathan Myers, and Nathan is an instructional designer at UNCG. He attended UNCG as an undergraduate through the North Carolina Teaching Fellows Program and began his career as a high school teacher in Lexington City Schools. And he served there as the LSHS Social Studies Department Head and was named the 2016 LCS Technology Teacher of the Year. He then earned a Master of Education from North Carolina State University and then joined the UNCG staff in 2017. At UNCG, Nathan supports faculty in designing and developing courses and full degree programs as part of the ITS Learning Technologies instructional and multimedia design team. And he enjoys collaborative problem solving and consulting with faculty on creative approaches to assessment and also instruction. And in addition to his instructional design work, he also serves as UNCG's Quality Matters Coordinator. So that is Nathan. I'm going to turn it over to him in just a bit. I'm going to end our poll now. It looks like we have so far top two are Zoom and Panopto, so we will show those later on. And welcome, Nathan.
Thanks, Melanie. I will get this screen shared here real quick, and then we'll hop into it. All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Thanks to Melanie for the intro and for moderating. I am going to cover with you captioning and accessible video and audio, and I'm really happy to be following Brittany's presentation because she really laid the groundwork for a lot of what we're going to cover here. I'll try my best not to retread the same ground, but there may be some overlap, but that's all right. As Melanie said, my name is Nathan Myers. I'm an instructional designer at UNC Greensboro, and I've been in this role for about 8 years. And luckily for me, when I first came aboard, it was right when our group was starting to get into accessibility. So I've been lucky enough to have that kind of built in as part of my course development process from the beginning. So I didn't have to try to reinvent the wheel. I kind of had that built in from the get-go. So that's lucky for me. I've never had to go backwards and try to rebuild a course. Well, there have been times, but not a course that I'm working on, right? So I've always been able to have that as part of the process. Um, so today we're gonna try to cover all this stuff in about 30 minutes, and then we'll leave 15 or so for Q&A. But we're gonna cover why the captions and transcripts matter. Why do they need to be accurate? How do you find an accessible media player or know that your media player is accessible? Um, how can you DIY your captions and transcripts, or when does it make sense to outsource them? And then, like I said, we'll spend a little time doing Q&A. Brittany covered this pretty well already, so I'll just very quickly say, you know, the things we'll be talking about today are primarily captions and transcripts. Audio descriptions, for the purposes of what I'm covering today, it's important to know what they are, but we're not going to get so much into using them. However, I did notice that there were some questions at the end of the last session. So if you have any other questions that you want to drop in here at the end, I'm happy to either address them as best I can or kick them over to Melanie. She is probably more of an expert in that realm than I am, for sure. So why do captions and transcripts matter? This is exactly what Brittany started with, right? It's the law, of course. That's why a lot of people are just now really diving into accessibility because they know it's the law and they know those regulations are coming down the pike. But the big thing is that it can benefit everybody, right? So when we talk about universal design for learning, we're talking about making a better learning experience for everyone, not just the folks who need that specific accommodation, right? So subtitles, yeah, if you have a hearing disability or you're hard of hearing in some way, subtitles might be helpful. Or if you're a non-native speaker, subtitles might be helpful. Or if you're working in a loud place and you can't hear the audio, subtitles could be helpful. Or maybe you have a processing issue and it's more helpful to be able to read and listen to what you're watching. Or maybe you're just eating a snack and it's kind of loud in your ears, right? There are all kinds of use cases, and having those options can make a better experience for everyone. So why does the accuracy of your captions and transcripts matter? Accurate captions and transcripts give students an equitable learning experience, right? So inaccurate captions can impact their comprehension. It can spread misinformation or cause significant confusion. When we talk about the level of accuracy we're going for, we're shooting for 99% accuracy, which means that auto-generated captions and transcripts can be a good jumping off point, but they're not going to be the end all be all, right? So we want to check them and edit them for accuracy before we post those. So first things first, how do you choose an accessible media player? An accessible media player is going to make sure that it enables a user to effectively interact with all the player's components, buttons, any other controls and features, both by mouse and by keyboard navigation. All the player features need to have clear labels like play, pause, stop, the CC button. And then another key feature is that your player is not going to autoplay. So when you come to a page, it's not going to start going automatically. That can be frustrating for anyone, but especially someone who might need to navigate via keyboard navigation to try to turn that off. So that's one other thing to keep in mind. Luckily, most of the big time media players are going to be accessible, right? YouTube and Vimeo, those are kind of the standards for if you're bringing in external videos to your course, right? So those are accessible. At UNCG, we also support Canvas Studio. That's where a lot of our instructors develop their videos or pull videos into their course. So that's an accessible player. Microsoft Teams is an accessible player, and Panopto. There are lots of other accessible players, but those are the ones that we as an institution support, and then of course the kind of industry standards over there with YouTube and Vimeo. So what's the best way to make your multimedia accessible? Should you do it yourself or should you shop it out to a third-party vendor? One thing to remember is that creating captions yourself takes a fair bit of time, right? So you may want to generate your own captions and transcripts if you have short videos, if you have a small number of videos, or if you're working ahead of time. So say you're working now to caption or transcribe videos for a course that's going live in the fall or next spring, right? You've got plenty of time to do that. It's not a big deal. Or if you can't outsource your videos for budgeting issues, scheduling issues, whatever else. So there are a lot of DIY options, and we'll walk through a few of those. But then on the flip side, you might want to consider outsourcing to a third-party vendor if you have long videos or a lot of videos. If you have videos that need captioned very quickly because maybe you have a specific accommodation you have to meet right away. Or if you have a bunch of videos that are going onto a public-facing site that are public right now that need a quick turnaround. So those might be times when it would make more sense to outsource those. So the first thing we'll do is walk through a couple DIY options. We'll start with, to me, one of the most intuitive options. Doesn't have a steep learning curve, and that's Canvas Studio. I won't have time to give a full video demo on this today, but it's simple, kind of point and click type of deal to record a video or pull a video into Canvas Studio. So once you have a video in Canvas Studio, you can auto-generate your captions, right? We said that's a good starting point. It takes a few minutes, but Canvas Studio will generate an SRT file for you, which is basically a plain text file with the transcript and the time codes on it that can be loaded in as a caption file. I know Brittany said kind of I think the standard across the board is like an 85%, or excuse me, an 80% accuracy. Canvas Studio claims to have an 85% accuracy. Probably different tools claim other numbers. Either way, it's not accurate enough, right? So we, again, want to hit that 99% accuracy. So no matter what, you're going to want to go back in after your captions are auto-generated and edit those. So if you're using Canvas, you can access Studio through your user profile or through your Canvas course. So each course will have its own entry into Studio. So all you need to do is go into Studio, find the video you want to caption. Again, you could record that straight to your camera into Canvas Studio, or you can pull in a video you've already recorded, or you can even pull in external videos like YouTube videos, but you can't auto caption external videos. So you go to the video you want to caption, and you'll see a message under the caption tab saying that no captions have been added. And all you need to do is click request. There's another option for upload, which we'll cover later on. So you select request, and then you select the language that you'd like Canvas Studio to auto-generate your captions in. Here we selected English, but there are about 20 language options. So if you need something in a different language, there's a good chance that Canvas Studio can cover you. So it'll probably take a few minutes for Studio to complete the auto-generated captions. And once they are finished, you'll see them available under the Manage Captions option. To edit those, all you do is click the 3 vertical dots and select Edit. And then you can start reviewing your captions right there. Your multimedia will appear and you can play it back as you go through if you want to play it through the video, or you can scroll through the different sections of the captions and just click on them and edit them that way. Whatever workflow works for you, it's fine, but it's all right in there and you can edit them, read through, or listen to it as you go. So another media option you might use is Microsoft Teams. That's another one that we support at UNCG. Teams can auto-generate both captions and transcripts, live captions and transcripts, I should say. We'll start with captions, and we'll get to transcripts a little later on. So Teams has built-in captioning using automatic speech recognition, or ASR. So you can turn this on from your meeting controls. It's more actions, language and speech, show live captions. You're going to want to follow just your same general video recording best practices. And I think Brittany covered some of these in the last session as well. You want to speak slowly and clearly. You want to avoid slang or jargon if you can. I know sometimes that's not possible depending on your subject area, but speak with as simple language as you can. You can also, if you're using the desktop app, you can customize your font size and color. You can increase the number of lines that are displayed, change the positioning of the captions in the meeting window. You can also change the meeting's language to ensure more accurate captions, especially if you're not captioning in English. I think that is the default, or depending on your institution would be. One thing to know though is that this is live captioning and Teams doesn't save your captions. So if you want to have a transcript of the meeting after the fact, you need to turn on transcription. And here you can see how those real-time captions appear in a Microsoft Teams meeting, along with the styles that you can customize over here on the right-hand side. This is my colleague Miranda. She was talking to herself in just a one-person meeting alone, but the captions still work even under those circumstances. Okay, so that brings us to the other demos. We have several experts that put together some excellent resources for us. I think, Melanie, you said the winners were Zoom and second place was Panopto.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
okay, excellent. So we'll do Zoom first, and we'll see what our time's looking like. If we have time for Panopto, we'll hop into that one too. But just know there are other options in here too. This presentation will be available on the conference webpage, so you can access this later and look at whichever videos you want to look at. I think I'm sharing my sound, but if it doesn't work, please let me know.
We can't hear it, Nathan.
Oh shoot. Okay. Hold on 1 second.
of Technology Accessibility.
Okay, I think that's working out.
Hello, and thank you for your interest in learning more about Zoom's
We could hear that, Nathan.
captioning and transcript features. I'm Eudora Struble, Director of Technology Accessibility at Wake Forest University. We appreciate your time today as we explore accessibility features in Zoom. When users are in a Zoom meeting, they will have a CC button at the bottom of their screen to enable captions. If you click this button, which is labeled Show Captions as well as CC, it will either immediately show captions on your Zoom screen, Or if you are the first person in a meeting to turn the feature on, it will ask you what language you want captions in. English is likely to be the default setting, but you can select from a list of other languages if another language is being spoken. Once you select the language and click Save, your captions will begin to appear. If you would like to move your caption window, you can drag your caption box elsewhere on the screen. A caption settings menu can be found by clicking the up arrow next to the CC button and navigating to caption settings to change the caption features, such as size and color. If you want to hide the captions, you can click the CC button again, which is now labeled Hide Captions. This will close the live caption box on your Zoom screen. If you would like to see a full transcript of your captions after they have been turned on in a meeting, you can click the up arrow next to the CC caption button and select View Full Transcript to see a transcript on the side of your screen. As attendees speak, their words will continue to appear in this panel. Depending on admin and host settings, some users may find a Save Transcript button at the bottom of the full transcript window. If this is available to you, you can click that button to save the transcript at any point. Zoom also allows a meeting host to access and edit captions produced after a recording to the Zoom cloud. Let's take a look at that now. If you have cloud recorded a meeting, you can access the meeting captions by first navigating to your Zoom web portal. You can find recordings you make to the cloud by selecting the Recording and Transcripts item from your main Zoom portal menu. These captions can be edited for accuracy and downloaded for you to use in other locations alongside your recorded meeting. Once in the space where your Zoom recordings and transcripts are stored, you can click into a recording to either download the caption file and video to edit in a different platform, or you can edit captions directly within the Zoom interface. To download for editing in another platform, just click Download from this page for all files available, including video and transcript files. Or to select individual files, you can choose from the list of all files available for the recording. To edit your captions,
Shoot, fun.
within the Zoom interface, simply click the video thumbnail on the landing page to allow you to play back or edit the recording in a new window. In the new window, your video will be on the left-hand side and your audio transcript is on the right. You can toggle the CC button on the video to also view captions on the video itself if you find that helpful. Within the audio transcript, you can search for words using the Search Transcript feature, or you can jump to sections of the video by clicking a section of the transcript. Automated transcripts in many platforms have gotten much more accurate in the last few years, but it is always recommended to review and edit all automated captions and transcripts to ensure they are as accurate as possible to support your whole audience. To edit captions within Zoom, hover over or click a specific section of your audio transcript, then select the Edit option, which appears as a pencil. This opens that segment of the transcript in a simple editable box inside of the audio transcript feature. Make any edits that are needed or additions, like speaker names. In this case, I would correct some missed capitalization. Then click the checkmark OK button to save the changes immediately. You can select the X button to cancel any changes. Once you are done editing all of your captions for accuracy and saving the corrections, you can click the Download button at the top right of the page to download video and transcript files, as well as audio-only files, depending on your settings. Using Zoom Cloud Recordings can be a great way to get a first draft of captions to then correct and share along with any recorded presentation or meeting. Finally, as a reminder, for every virtual meeting you're in, please let your attendees know about any accessibility features, including where to find captions. Thanks for your interest in improving the accessibility of your Zoom live and recorded meetings. Please reach out to your campus accessibility resources and experts to learn more.
Thanks to you, Dora, for that video. That was great. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Please know that was user error and not a problem with the video. I think in the interest of time, we'll skip the Panopto piece, but just know that is in the presentation as well. Accessible to anyone who wants to see it, as is Kaltura and Google Meet.
Hello.
Oops. Okay, so moving on to uh, transcripts. All right. And I'll use Microsoft Teams again as an example, and then we'll look at just a simpler way to do it as well. So Teams allows you to transcribe what's being said and download a copy of the transcript when the meeting is finished. You can view a live transcription to follow along during the meeting and then save a copy of that transcript to share with the attendees after the fact. So the transcript can be downloaded either as a Word doc or as a VTT, both of which you can edit for accuracy before you share that out. And so these screenshots they show 3 different views of a transcript generated by Microsoft Teams. First, the live transcript that appears in real time. That's over here during the Teams meeting. Second, you have the post-meeting options in the team that direct you to the recap tab to download the transcript. And then finally, over here, this is a Word doc transcript generated by Microsoft Teams, which has timestamps, says who's speaking and when, and also, of course, is editable. One thing to note, though, generated as is, a Microsoft Word version of the transcript might have inaccessible elements. For instance, the speaker names are not super high contrast. So just either give it we probably both want to give it a visual exam and also just run the Microsoft Word accessibility checker before you share that out, just to make sure it's fully accessible. If you're creating your own media from scratch, you may want to craft your own transcript. It can be a nice, simple step, and it can help you within that process. So before recording a narrated video or a piece of audio, just write a script. It helps your own production process flow smoothly because it gives you a chance to practice what you want to say, how you want to say it before you hit the record button. Plus, if you're scripting this out and making sure you're using descriptive language, it will not only help the effectiveness of the captions, but it can also help reduce the need for audio descriptions later if you have a student who's visually impaired. So to serve as an accessible transcript, your document is going to need to have a few formatting features. First, make sure your document is accessible in terms of kind of the usual low-hanging fruit, right? Heading structure, color contrast, alt text, whatever else you might need to do to make any document accessible. So again, running a tool like Accessibility Checker in a Word document is a good strategy or a good start there. But then you also want to add specific transcript formatting. So a blank line between each section and the next section can indicate that a new section is starting. Square brackets can represent background sounds like music or laughter, things that are nonverbal. And then that little double arrow or chevron, whatever you want to call it, indicates a speaker or character. If your video is embedded on a page in your LMS, then you can simply upload the transcript file to that page. So again, just regular accessibility best practices. Make sure your link text is descriptive rather than the file name, and then just highlight that and upload your document right there. Then students will have a downloadable document they can access either on the page or download and keep. And this would be the same process you'd follow for uploading third-party generated transcripts as well, and we'll get to that in a second. So sometimes outsourcing to a third-party professional service is going to be a better fit for your captioning needs or your transcription needs. So let's go through some of those options really quick. In certain situations, you may encounter web-based media that has auto-generated captions or transcripts, or no captions or transcripts at all. And by web-based media, I mean audio or video created by somebody else and hosted on the web, something like a YouTube video, for example. Because these videos are owned by an external source, you as the viewer are not able to edit or add captions or transcripts. So to use that type of media in your course, you're going to need to provide those captions or transcripts that are, of course, accurate. Occasionally, you can make a request to the content creator and they would add captions or transcripts, but that's a rarity. So you really kind of are on the hook yourself for that. So that's where a third-party vendor might come into play to provide that service. At UNCG, we currently have 3 approved third-party vendors who can generate captions and transcripts for a fee. And those are Automatic Sync Technologies, 3Play Media, and Verbit. And just as a reference, some of, if not all 3 of these, can also provide audio descriptions if you need to request those. And so if you're pulling in an external video, one thing to remember is Canvas Studio can't auto-generate captions for those. So assuming that you're bringing in an external video and you've already requested captions from a third-party source, and you now have that file, this is how you would upload those to a video that you're bringing in through Canvas Studio. Basically, you go back into Canvas Studio, click the video that you want to add captions to, and instead of the request option, you would just click upload. And most of these third-party vendors should give you an SRT file. That's the most common. Canvas Studio will also accept a VTT. And so once your caption file has been uploaded, you can just go to your video and toggle the CC button to make sure that the video or the captions are showing up on the video as they're supposed to. And here's just a reminder of how you can upload a transcript on your Canvas page. It would just be, that link text below your video, highlight it, insert your document. Same as you would for a transcript that you've created yourself. If you don't want to host it within the LMS, you could link it to a document in OneDrive, for example. So there are a lot of different ways you can distribute those transcripts. So just pick whichever one works the best for you. Okay, and that's it for me. I'm a little over where I was planning to be, but we still got plenty of time for questions. I will say, if anyone has any questions after the fact, feel free to reach out to me. I can try to find you answers, or at the very least, connect you with someone who has those answers. And we also have a fair bit of information on our accessibility site, which Melanie put together. There's a lot of great info there. If you're just getting started with accessibility, especially, there's a lot of info. So feel free to check that out. And otherwise, I will open it up for questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Nathan. Great presentation. We do have a few questions. We did answer a few that came through as well. We're able to answer some through the chat.
Awesome.
One that just came through asked if you could list the third-party vendors that you use. If you could put those back up, maybe.
Sure, absolutely.
Let them see those. And while you're doing that, look for another question here.
Way too far. There we go. Automatic Sync Technologies, 3Play Media, and Verbit.
Yes. And this question kind of ties in. I know you talked about it a little bit. There's a question that asks, what do you recommend for accurately captioning YouTube videos that you don't own?
So that's one of those times when you would want to put in a request with a third-party vendor, right? You would have to, so Automatic Sync Technologies, 3Play Media, Verbit are all good options. they would caption that and provide the caption file to you. Usually, I think they also provide implementation instructions. But then, yeah, so you would be on the hook at that point to either upload the caption file or the transcript, depending on what kind of player you're using, if you're bringing that in through something like Canvas Studio or just embedding it on a page.
Yes. And several of these companies, I know 3Play Media specifically, for YouTube videos, they can actually create, I guess, a separate video for it. So you would submit the link, the YouTube link, and then they can take that and then create its own, I guess, video that you can play separately. I'm not sure, I don't recall if Automatic Sync Technologies or Verbit does that, but I know 3Play Media does. So there's certainly a way to address that if needed.
Oh, that reminds me, I think somebody at the end of the last session asked about audio descriptions and what that looks like if it's you know, a separate video that you would have to use. And when I think we've only used 3Play Media for audio description, is that right, Melanie?
Yes.
And so what they do is they give you basically it's a separate player that has a secondary audio track that you can toggle on and off. But it's like its own separate thing. I don't know if that's a helpful description at all, but
Yep. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's how that audio description works. And I believe with YouTube videos for captions, it's similar. It's a separate video player you would have. Okay, let's look at another question. So this one came in, it's talking about Panopto, that there's an issue with the built-in editor. So there's a flaw where in the built-in editor, if you cut out a section in the middle of the video, the captions for the edited video would not be in sync from that edit zone to the end. And so the participant is asking if that issue has been resolved. I'm not sure if you know the answer to that, Nathan.
I do not. I haven't used Panopto in a very long time. But that's excellent intel.
Yeah, I believe, to my knowledge, that is still an issue, and so you would have to. It's not going to automatically resync if you're trimming or cutting the video, so you'd have to go in and I guess just clean it up and fix it. So to my knowledge, I think that's still an issue. Another question, are you aware of any tools that will burn the video file and our SRT file on a physical disk that will play in a DVD player or computer with closed captions? We have a number of documentaries used for classes that we could caption, but don't have rights or platforms to stream these for students.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that. Melanie, you may have a much better answer, but that doesn't seem like something that would be possible to me.
Yeah, I don't know of a DVD or where you would burn it into the actual DVD itself. But I do know that there is software that will allow you to burn in captions. Kaltura for one, Adobe Premiere Pro, and I believe Camtasia has that ability to where you burn in the captions, so that, and burning in the captions basically means that it's open captions. So, and I think Brittany had talked about this in the last presentation, so that when the video plays, you don't have a way to turn the captions on or off. So I don't know if maybe you could use one of those tools and then maybe create a physical disc, a DVD, to maybe get to what you're looking for. But I don't know of a platform that will allow you to do that directly to the DVD itself.
Yeah, that was my thought too, open captions. And someone mentioned something about Premiere Pro in the Q&A. And if you have access to it, I recommend it too. I mean, it's a little more complicated to use than some of these other tools, but auto captioning is pretty good. And then the captioning editor to follow that up is pretty simple to use. So if you have access to that, it's another good option.
Yep, and it looks like Charles Bowden, I think is the last name, also added in the Q&A that handbrake, which I believe I've heard that I've not used that a lot, but handbrake may be another option with the video file, but then still burning it back to the DVD. So similar to what we were mentioning as well. Ellen Bannister said Veed allows you to burn in the captions. Okay, so yeah, it looks like there are definitely a few options there. Okay, another question, can you play third-party videos on Zoom recording and then download the transcript?
I think you can, but I mean, it would be the same thing where you would have to go through and edit, just as the same as if you auto-generated something.
Yep. Another question, if you upload a video with captions burned in, would you still recommend uploading an additional caption or transcript file?
Melanie, I'll kick that one over to you. I would think yes, but I don't know.
If you upload a video with captions burned in, I'm thinking maybe you wouldn't. I mean, if they're already burned into the video, I don't know that you would absolutely have to include maybe a transcript. But I don't know if the captions are already there, then I don't know that you have to then also provide an additional caption file. I think just generally giving the user the option to either turn the captions on or off is, I think, it's the best practice, because there are some people who don't want to see those captions, and it could be a distraction for them. So, giving them the option to turn them on or off, I think is really the better route. Okay, let's see. Okay, another question. Okay, so I think these might be more responses. Someone else mentioned Handbrake would let you do the burn, and then you take the video and burn it to a DVD. Veed also allows you to burn in captions. Another comment, for Panopto edits, an edited out middle part of a Panopto recording will also edit out the matching captions. Okay. Panopto recording editing is non-destructive, so the edited out content still exists in the cloud, and the edit can be removed later, so the original content shows. Okay, so that's a follow-up to, I think, that initial question about cutting out middle parts of a video in Panopto.
I feel like I'm learning a lot about Panopto today.
Another comment, VLC Media Player will allow you to play a video with SRT file from a DVD. Okay. And yeah, okay, looks like we've got more comments. Another person commented about Kaltura allows you to pull in the video and will auto caption, and then you can edit.
That's nice to know.
Yeah.
Save you from having to put in a captioning request with someone.
Yep. So another comment just came in. If you have a Mac computer, the free Mac Whisper is amazing for generating auto captions and transcripts as a starting point. And paid version can also generate it from a YouTube URL. But this is another Melanie Croning, I think. She has not tried that yet, but another helpful tip for Mac users. All right, I think we are all done with questions, unless we've got any others that are coming through.
I see one comment about it being fair use to create digital versions of the documentaries that were mentioned previously, if they were password protected for the course. I think that would probably be true. I think the accessibility piece would outweigh the copyright issues, right, Melanie? But just I would be, careful about where you post that.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, accessibility it supersedes copyright, but you do have to be careful. You don't want to post those publicly. You want to make it available specifically to the person that needs it. So, there's some things that you certainly want to consider, and if there's a question about copyright. And of course, you want to check with your legal counsel before doing any of those things. But I think generally speaking, accessibility is going to supersede copyright. All
I think
right.
that may be it. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate all the great questions and all the comments too. I feel like I learned a fair bit just in this Q&A.
Yes. Thank you again, Nathan, for the great presentation. And this should be available on the conference website. The presentation itself should be available there. And we will now break, I guess. If there aren't any other questions, we'll break for lunch. We'll come back at 1 o'clock for the next session.